Hello, beautiful smell goods. Welcome again to the Fragrance Anthology. If you are new here, welcome. Good to meet you. If you are returning, thank you again for stopping by to spend some time. I hope you find something interesting and worth your time. So, what do I have for you today? We are embarking on a journey through winter itself, bottled, complex, and unapologetically powerful. Not one fragrance, but three distinct personalities. We will be exploring Paris Corner's December collection: December Vanilla, December Rose, December Amber. If you've used any of these, own them, enjoy them, hate them, whatever, just please pop in the comments and share your thoughts with me. So now I know what you must be thinking just about now. December fragrances seriously season at the beginning of March. But here's the thing about that exceptional winter scents. They create their own season and they carry winter's essence regardless of what the calendar says. And in true fashion, I mean, yeah, winter, why not? Because since my beloved Northeast is kind of covered in snow right now, I feel it's very appropriate to cover some winter scents because although where I live is starting to change, that you can see the weather change, my Northeast, I'm originally a Jersey girl, so the Northeast is covered in snow. So here's a little winter tribute to the Northeast. And trust me, these three scents, they have stories to tell. We're going to go in order, chronological order of release by date. So let's start with the one that truly made me question everything I thought I knew about vanilla. Let's start with December Vanilla. December Vanilla was launched in 2023, right? And it's um, inspired by Kayali's Vanilla Royale Sugared Patchouli. It is a lovely scent. I mean, actually, let me pause and just give an homage to a woman I have come to admire so much. And I think her fragrances are schmooped, if you will, so much because she really understands, I think, fragrance, modern fragrance, and what people are looking for. And I speak of none other than Miss Mona Katan, who is at the head of the Kayali company. So, Miss Mona, hats off to you. We get back to December Vanilla. This is not your cozy cuddle up by the fireplace vanilla. This is not sweet. I would say this is not safe even. Let's break down the notes, okay? So on the top, we have rum, we have vanilla orchid, we have jasmine. At the heart notes or middle notes, you have vanilla. The spicy notes in there is what it says: creme brulee, tonka bean, leather, and rose. And at the base, we have patchouli, brown sugar, agar wood, which is that oud. Oud is actually agar wood, and amber and musk. The moment I sprayed this, and hold on, I will spray it. This is absolutely boozy. You get the booziness right at the opening, and it is heavy, right? It is a heavy, heavy fragrance. This is, I find it, I feel like this is also masculine, which is kind of surprising. I wasn't expecting it to feel as masculine as it does. It's gloriously unisex, I would say, in my description, but to be honest, it leans more towards the masculine side. For me, I love it, I wear it, but I tend to soften it a little bit, if you will. Okay. The quality, the quality here is there. And I will advise simply wear it in the winter months. It's called December Vanilla, and indeed, I pull it in the winter months. I will not even dream of pulling this out in the warmer months. It will be a bit too much. I will classify this solidly as a winter fragrance, as I mentioned. The vanilla here is bold, it's mature, right? It's heavy, and that makes it very alluring, and it lends it a seductiveness, if you will. Think heavy, non-sweet vanilla extract mixed with, let's say, rum. If I had to compare it to a drink, think Grand Marnier. That's it. Think Grand Marnier. Rum, it's rummy, it's spicy, and it just definitely commanding in its attention. The patchouli and the spice kind of deliver a rather punchy combo in the beginning, right? And I'll be honest, it feels a bit intrusive at first to me, at least it did, but that goes away pretty quickly, I think. In the dry down, it becomes softer. The rum fades away quite a bit, and the vanilla, together with the tonka bean and musk, comes through much more. And that combination really does deliver sophistication in this scent. There's a rose and leather in here that it's like, but I think, kind of, you can smell them if you pay attention or if you're trying to detect it, but they are more in the background, kind of very elegantly playing support roles. Actually, let me stop for a minute. I meant to, this, I mean, the bottle is gorgeous. It feels heavy, it's weighty, a little ornate. The cap is a little ornate for my taste, but it's really an attractive bottle. What I love and must give Paris Corner kudos for is that they list all the notes here in the back, right? Each one of them has it, and I think that lends to the aestheticness of it. So, if I can put a public service announcement to all these other perfume companies, please consider this. This is quite awesome. There is such a rich diversity in kind of the olfactory evolution, as this thing evolves in this beauty, right? It's not boring at all. I would say this one is for more advanced noses, if that makes sense. And an advanced nose, or somebody rather kind of, far along in their perfume journey, that appreciate nuances in fragrance, because there's nuance here. For me, honestly, it started kind of when I sprayed it. I remember it went from to, as it dried down, whoa, right? As it evolved, it really becomes rather beautiful as it dries down. But it's not a scent that I will describe in any way as smooth or even refined. No. Mm-mm. Definitely not. And I will not call this a saved line buy. If you're interested, try and get a decant, a sample of it somewhere. At its price point, it's very reasonably priced. If you want to dive right in, dive right in. If you don't like it, I'm sure you will find somebody in your circle or in your environment that really does. So it is worth checking out. It is heavy, it is unbalanced. And I would even say it's a bit scratchy, even. I don't know for certain, though, if this thing contains shisha or tobacco. It's not mentioned in its notes, but it definitely gives those vibes. In its roughness also lies its beauty, truly, truly. Now, let's talk chemistry, because I, find it rather fascinating. So the molecule primarily responsible for the vanilla scent in here, I think I mentioned it in another review. It's called vanillin, right? It isn't actually sugary at all, although we tend to conjure up the image of, like, sweetness with vanilla. That molecule isn't sugary at all. Is structurally actually related to compounds that are found in, like, aged whiskey, rum, and oak barrels, where they age those whiskeys and rums in. And when those spirits, like, rum or whiskey, for example, when they break down and they age, they break down the wood, and the component that comes out of it, out of that broken down wood, is called lignin, actually, or lignin, however you pronounce it. And that slowly releases what is known as vanillin. That's why aged liquor, if you're familiar with the smell of aged liquor as it naturally develops over time, you do get a vanilla like depth to them. So, December vanilla here isn't just inspired by boozy notes, right? It's chemically related to them. We're literally smelling the molecular cousin of aged spirits. Now, let's talk performance, right? On projection, this is strong. It's a strong projection with a large scent bubble. You will get 10 plus hours on longevity if you spray this on your skin, and I'm talking skin. If you spray it on your clothes, it's not coming out until you wash it. So, as I love to assign a personality to all the scents that I wear, review and talk about, what is December Vanilla's story here? It, I feel like this is the kind of scent that doesn't enter a room loudly necessarily. It arrives, and it arrives like John Wick coming into a room, right? Quiet, deliberate, and carrying a past, a mysterious past that you feel like you will never know the full story of. You want a female equivalent? Think Wednesday Addams, right? Jenna Ortega style. It's slightly sharp, even abrasive, but unforgettably compelling. That's kind of how I feel about this scent. This is vanilla with experience, if you will, okay? This is not innocent by any stretch of the imagination. It is something to be experienced, right? This is the fragrance for someone that's been through, has character. He's been through fire and emerged tempered, stronger, fascinating. You kind of want to know them. It's bold, right? It's for the bold, for those who appreciate complexity, I would say, over comfort, right? For the person who kind of understands that beauty isn't always soft. But speaking of complexity, so let's talk roses. And the next one in line, which was released after the vanilla, is December Rose, which I like to call the vintage Diva. Now, December Rose was launched after vanilla, so this is 2023. This here is 2024, and I've heard it's supposed to be inspired by Rihanna's Fenty. I've smelled Rihanna's Fenty, and I get why it would be compared, but for me, not so much. I mean, I get similarities, but there are marked like differences. It lacks Fenty's refinement, if you will. Yeah, there's a refinement about Fenty that isn't necessarily here. So looking at the notes for December Rose, on the top you have blueberry and tangerine. And in the middle, you have rose, which is quite dominant in here actually, geraniums, magnolia. Yeah, so rose, geranium, and magnolia in the middle. And at the base notes, you have musk and patchouli. So I find that comparatively, the structure in here is simple. Is the simplest of the structures in all the three, right? So an honest moment now. This scent to me is kind of the quintessential example of why rose heavy fragrances give me a pause. The rose is pretty heavy in here. I got the blueberry though, but the rose definitely. It's not a bad fragrance by any means, right? In fact, I've heard a lot of great reviews on it, and I have to say it is a really pretty scent. To my nose, though, I call it the vintage diva because it comes off as a little vintage to me. Not necessarily geriatric. Let's be straight. There's nothing geriatric about this scent. It's sort of old fashioned glamour, if you will. And it's slightly spicy oriental rose. And it has a body. It's just rose heavy scents are hard for me because rose isn't necessarily my favorite flower. So when I bump into rose heavy scents, it takes me quite a bit to warm up to it. And for me, it did take me a bit to warm up to this. It is, to my nose, again, as I mentioned, an homage to December and winter here. It is definitely a winter scent. When I wear it, or when I've worn it, I've actually, honest moment, I've actually only worn this twice. It's something that I'm trying to get my used to wearing more often, but we'll see. If you are a diehard rose lover, as I mentioned, and also appreciate a realistic blueberry note, then this one may very well be for you. I learned this one it's not easy to find. I don't know, like that's a recent piece of information that's come to me actually that this particular one is not easy to find. So I'm wondering if it's discontinued. I don't know that for a fact. I'm just curious about it. So if you know anything about that, can you please drop me a note, a comment, share your knowledge. This to me is yeah, polarizing is definitely the word I would use. Is a polarizing scent. You either love that classic rose elegance or you may just find it entirely too vintage for your taste. Okay. On longevity, solid 6 hours, maybe more. It goes a bit longer if when I sprayed it on my clothes, I found that the 6 hours was on skin, but on your clothes, obviously, you get much more longevity with it, and you're gonna smell it for longer during the day. On projection, I'll call it moderate, right? It's not a screamer at all. It's nothing overwhelming, but it's noticeable. And as I mentioned earlier, to me, the best time to wear this is definitely wintertime, maybe too heavy and cloying for summertime. The heat, I would not wear it. Hey, do what you want, but I would not wear it in the heat, right? And now here's a fascinating bit of science fact about why December rose behaves the way it does. That classic vintage quality in the rose fragrances often comes from molecules called ionones or and damascones. Heard about Damascus rose? Yeah, that's it. Which naturally occur in real, you'll find them, as I mentioned, like in something like a Damascus rose and rose oils. But here is the wild part. Ionones can temporarily reduce your nose's sensitivity as well to them. So meaning and it comes and goes. It's the reason why roses in general, especially heavy roses, and I find it's that it comes and goes, it fades in and out. It seems to disappear on you, but then it reappears later, is due to that molecule ion. That's what it does to your nose. So this is why rose fragrances like this baby right here can feel like I smelled it, then I didn't smell it. And returning throughout the wear, I felt like that. I was like, I it was in and out all day long. I mean, on my skin, as I mentioned, because of your body heat, it's a steady. But after that, it wafted in and out for me. So I guess it's due to what I'm talking about in terms of that molecule. So let's now do story time for December Rose. What is she telling me? I feel like December Rose, character wise, she reminds me of Queen Charlotte from the Bridgertons, right? It's regal, it's composed, and it's entirely unconcerned with whether you understand her or not. She carries herself with old world glamour, you know, powder on her wrists, secrets in her silence, and a softness that only reveals itself with time. Yeah, it's not your youthful, not modern per se, but unforgettable in its own right and presence. This is not the rose that is trying to be liked as far as I'm concerned. This is the rose that has already been chosen and knows she is. Okay, so now before we move on to the third fragrance, let me share a little magical discovery with you. Actually, I'll hold that. I'll hold that till the end because I have a few of those to share with you, but I think you're going to like it. So, patience, I will reward your patience. Okay. The result of, you're going to love it. Let's just put it this way. You're going to love it. Let me not give it away. And now we arrive at the one out of this trio, I think, that stole my heart. Very surprisingly, actually. Actually, I guess it's not that much of a surprise. I love amber scents, so, but this one really got me. It has, and I talk here of December Ambar. It has a real regal, sophisticated aesthetic about it. And so it's very attention grabbing for me, right? And again, notes on the back, beautiful colored bottle. Anyway, December Amber, of course, was the latest of the launches out of the three. It came out in 2025. I remember getting it in early 2025, actually, somewhat. So it's the newest of the three. It's supposed to be inspired by a scent called Ambre Supermassive, which is by Les Eaux Primordiales. I have not smelled it. I've seen a picture of it. I've seen a picture of the bottle, and I'm hoping to get a sample because I really want to see how close this one comes to it. So Ambre Supermassive. If you have it or have smelled it or use it, please let me know your thoughts on that. Is it worth splurging on it? Just let me know. Okay. All right. And then Supermassive. It's one of those rather niche compositions. So known for the density of its amber. Now, let me tell you what I get from this one, because inspired or not, I think this baby stands entirely on its own. So let's go through the notes. And on the top, you have apple, aniseed, and coconut. In the heart notes, on the middle, you have saffron, rose, plum. And in the base notes, you have amber, vanilla, benzoin, cedarwood, caramel, and moss. So there's a lot going on in here. And oh my God, this baby though, what? This fragrance within a few seconds of spraying it makes a massive impression. Okay. It's bold, it's dense, it smells very niche and uncommon. That is the word I would use for it. I mean, so reasonably priced, it is punching way above its weight in terms of, mm, it's it's a, yeah, it's powerful. That's for damn certain. It's a spicy plum here, right? And I think the spiciness is being delivered by aniseed. If you know aniseed, I cook with aniseed or anise. You've probably heard of the spice called anise. I use it quite a bit in my cooking. So there's that spiciness there. The saffron is a power player here for sure. Neither pepper or cinnamon is mentioned in the notes, to be honest, but just based on its spiciness, I feel like there's definitely a vibe of those in here, a warmth and a heat that kind of conjures up cinnamon and pepper for me. But I don't know if I know that sometimes fragrances don't necessarily list everything in it, but I mean, that's fair. I can't really detect coconut or moss. I have to admit, I don't think I missed them. There's a lot enough going on in this for to take my attention. What is so spectacular, I think, about this is, and makes it so commanding, is that when I spray it, I'm a big fan of layering my scents, and I'll share with you in the end. But when I wear this, I really want to wear it by itself. It stands alone on itself. It's complex enough that I don't feel like it needs anything else at all. And, grounding this, all that spiciness, like rather beautifully, excuse me, is the amber, the cedarwood, and the benzoin in here. This, folks, I call it, this is grown and sexy, pure and simple, right? It's not child's play at all. It screams confidence. I know who I am, yeah, and I am comfortable in all my facets and in my own skin. That's kind of what this fragrance gives me, right? It says I am not perfect by a long shot, but I absolutely love who I am and I'm comfortable with who I am becoming. And this is standout as a unisex scent. I think it smells. I'm actually going to get my husband to wear it because I have not smelled it on a man, but I can see this being so beautiful with, the masculine chemistry. And if ever I met like a unisex scent that will work beautifully, a standout, this one is definitely one of them. It's very refined to my nose. It's a refined scent. I think out of the three, absolutely, this takes the cake in terms of refinement. Caramel lent a sweetness to it, and the woods balance it out nicely, right? In terms of performance, let's talk performance. This is very strong. I mean, I sprayed it just a little. It fills a room. It's very, very strong on longevity. 12 hours. I mean, I didn't wear it for 12 hours, but it went all day, like all day with it. And I'm glad I wore it in the winter time because I cannot imagine wearing this in the warmer months either. As I mentioned, all these to me are winter scents. It is very, very strong. So in the cool weather, it will do well. In the warm weather, to me, it will be kind of terrifying, right? So I will not advise it, but of course, you do as you please. On silage, it has a strong silage, right? It requires, because of how strong it is, it requires a restraint in the spraying. This is not something you can jump into. I think one, two, maybe three spritzes maximum, and you are good to go for 10 hours. Easily 10 to 12 hours. Spray it on your clothes, and you have to wash it maybe twice before it comes out. It comes out completely. The longevity in here is due to the benzoin, and it's one of the key base notes in the amber fragrances, which is used rather popular, I mean, quite commonly. It contains, benzoin in itself contains a resin molecule that evaporates very slowly. And these molecules kind of act as a natural fixative for perfumes. And yeah, and they anchor lighter notes, top notes, that because in perfume, if you follow or interested in fragrances at all, when they say top, middle, and base notes, usually you have the top notes are your lighter notes, right? They come in, you did the first things that you smell, they fade away pretty quickly. Then, as you go on in the journey of the scent, you get the middle notes. But what anchors a scent is the base notes. That's the foundation of any scent. And with benzoin and ambers, amber being in the base notes, it holds on, or it allows the lighter notes to evaporate much more slowly, right? And so that's how it extends the longevity of a scent. So, interesting science tidbit for you there. So, perfumers use benzoin specifically when they want to create scents that feel rich and opulent, that envelops you, and it's enduring, pure and simple. It's kind of, think about a long train. Think about a queen's train that just follows you endlessly, right? That's kind of what it conjures up here. There's a regalness truly about this sense, and it follows behind you, well, and announces you simply. That's it. And that's the story in this bottle, right? It enters. Who would I let me see, let me give it a character. Let's say Queen Ramonda. How's that, right? Regal, grounded, and fully aware of her presence, and that her presence alone shifts the air. She does not announce herself, as I say, she simply arrives and the world pays attention, right? This is not confidence borrowed, it's confidence owned and worn. So, December Amber, I think it's pretty obvious that it is my favorite out of the trio, right? It's sophisticated without being stuffy, and it's powerful without being aggressive, sweet without being cloying at all. And it's just the kind of fragrance I reach for when I want to remind myself of just how boss I am. Hey, I am. In its beauty, the real magic happens when you start layering these three beauties. And I'll share some layering magic with you. As I mentioned, I have some extras for you. So I'm done with kind of, talking about these individually. I hope you got something out of it. Please consider liking, subscribing, giving me a like as we grow this channel. And with that said, let me give you some layering combos that I discovered as I did my mad scientist thing and started playing with these three. Now, discovery number one in terms of a layering combo, layer the rose over the vanilla. And the result is simply gorgeous. The vanilla's rough edges, right, are softened by the rose, and the vintageness in the rose is also toned down kind of by the vanilla, and they complete each other. Mini me, you complete me. Anyway, but together it really creates something quite special. Again, just a little tidbit in terms of combos. Always layer the softer one over the stronger one, because strong scents will just tend to overpower the lighter or softer one. So it's always best to layer the softer ones over the strong ones. Combination number two, layer the rose over the amber, of course. The results, what you get is a unique combination that commands attention, quite frankly. All right. The rose adds a floral softness to the amber's powerhouse presence. And the amber here gives the rose kind of a more modern feel, sophisticated, gives it a sophisticated backbone. And that, I think, on its own, it's kind of lacking a little bit. And this combination is regal, I would say, but also approachable. So try them, see what you think. Now, the third combo, layer the amber over the vanilla, right? The result here is a balanced study in elegance, pure and simple. The vanilla's boozy roughness is tempered in when you do that by the amber's refined sweetness, I think. And the combination is warm, is inviting, enveloping, and luxurious, right? It's kind of like being wrapped in like the world's most expensive cashmere. That's the feeling you get while sipping, like, spiced cognac by a fireplace. How's that for a description? Now, come closer. You feeling really frisky? Layer all three. Start with the amber. Give it a few seconds to dry it down some. Go in the middle with the rose. Again, give it a few seconds, and then go in with the vanilla. If you do that and you have plans for going out, I will say this, you are not likely to make it outside. Date night may need to be indoors, and you are likely to be the only thing on that menu, if you know what I mean. So don't start what you can't finish. You've been warned. The combination of these three creates a complex, very multifaceted scent that's spicy and floral and boozy and warm and all the good stuff. It's utterly intoxicating. It is just me playing mad scientist, and something rather lovely comes out of it. I feel like it's fragrance alchemy in the finest way possible. So try them, see what you think, and then share your thoughts with me. Do you love them? Do you hate them? Either way, it's fine. Share your thoughts with me. Love to hear what you have to say. And so there you have it, folks. The December trilogy from Paris Corner. I call it the survivor, the icon, and the sovereign. So, which one are you? What strikes me actually most, just getting a little philosophical here about these fragrances, is how unapologetically themselves they are. December vanilla does not try to be sweet or inapproachable. December rose doesn't apologize for its vintage elegance. And amber certainly doesn't dim its light or power for anything. And I think in that, there is a lesson for all of us in that. In a world that's constantly asking or telling us to be softer, be sweeter, easier to digest, I think these fragrances say, no, I am complex, I am challenging, I'm not for everyone. And you know what? That is okay. To me, they remind us that the most interesting thing in life, whether fragrance or people, are the ones that demand our attention, reward our patience, and reveal themselves in layers. So December Vanilla, did it teach me? December Vanilla taught me that roughness can be beautiful. December Rose shows us that classic doesn't have to mean outdated necessarily. And December Amber reminded me what it feels like to wear confidence, pure and simple. So now, would I recommend them as blind buys? Absolutely not. Let's get that straight right now. I will not recommend any of these three as blind buys. These are fragrances that I think you want to sample. It's worth having all trio. I have them, obviously, but they're worth sampling before you commit to owning all three of them. You need to sit with them, right? Let them develop on your skin. They require that time, that attention, and for you to decide. I think, they grow on you or they won't, and that is okay too. But if you're someone who appreciates complexity, who loves fragrances that evolve and challenge you, then the trio may be calling your name. So, my ranking, I think it's pretty obvious, right? Amber takes the crown. She's the queen, undisputed. Then vanilla comes in second, challenging but rewarding. And then you have December Rose. She's a respectable third, perfect for the vintage rose lover, pure and simple. So, whether it's winter where you are or you're creating your own winter vibes, right? Remember this: the most memorable fragrance, like the most memorable people, are the ones that truly, truly stay true to themselves, period. Complex, layered, challenging, as I mentioned earlier. So there you have it. You make of that as you will. What are you getting from these if you've tried them? Do you plan on getting them, or, do they not interest you at all? Share your thoughts with me. Love to hear it. So thank you for spending this time with me and for exploring these scents with me. If you have them, if you have the December collection, one, two, or all three, let me know. Drop your thoughts. As I mentioned, I'd really, really love to get your take on them because they're not necessarily easy to like. So I'm curious about what others feel about them. Thank you for stopping by. Now, remember, stay truly yourself. As they say, everybody else is taken. So, this has been a presentation from the Fragrance Anthology. I'm Susan, your fragrance obsessed bestie. Until next time, stay scented.